Warning: the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and/or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Southern Fried Paranormal with Len Dorman featuring Bones. Catch us on Spotify, iHeart, iTunes, Spreaker, Facebook, Stream, and everywhere else you catch your podcasts. And of course, WLFE-DB.com. Now, from the backwoods of southeast Arkansas, right beside the Bayou Bartholomew, the longest bayou on the planet, broadcasting from downtown metropolitan Cane Creek Township, here is your host, Len Dorman.
Hello. The show's a little bit late tonight. Sorry about that. Our guest will be Dan Norvell. Will not be on till for another 30 to 40 minutes due to a delay. In the meantime, we are going to do an EchoVox session, which is already started. So we will bid adieu to me and let the co-host of the show, Bones, take over. And run the show.
Does anybody here wishes to talk? We got about 30 minutes, 30, 40 minutes on this session. Well, I'm opening it up. Well, go ahead. Do not be in any other part of the house but the studio. Talk and talk. And every the nearby Civil War battlefield. Button på. Button på. Color over the Indian mountain. Color over the Indian mountain. Well, you do it. Fly. You do it. Fly. You do it. Fly. Button på. Nej. Ja. Sen är vi där. Ja, det får jag. Nej. Hela bilden. Nej. Hallå, vad är det ni gör? Nej. Vad är det? Ja. Hallå, vad är det ni gör? Well. Nej, när känns det då? Det är högt. Nej. När känns det då? Well. Jag brinner ner på det. Den blir upp i det. Hallå, vad är det ni gör? Hallå, vad är det ni gör? Just you where you ja, den blir upp i det. Well. Just you where you well. När känns det då? Ja, när känns det då? Hallå, vad är det ni gör? Nej. Nej. Sen är vi där. Hallå, vad är det ni gör? Ja, när känns det då? Just you where you Nej. Jag brinner ner på. Nej. You look fine. What's that? Den blir upp i det. Sen är vi där. Hela bilden. När känns det då? Sen är vi där. Ja. När känns det då? You where you jag brinner ner på. Den blir upp i det. You do it. Fly. Det är högt. Nej. Button på. Den blir upp i det. Button på. Ja, när känns det då? Den blir upp i det. Den blir upp i det. Ja, sen är vi där. Vad är det? Det är högt. Button på. Nej. Det är högt. center. Bring the name one under Opieter. Under Opieter off. Anybody in the area? We got a worldwide audience. Well, we're live, and this will be recorded as a podcast. Nice chat, and every time, go ahead and let the world listen. And every time, stay hooked. Button the book. Button the book. Well, you do why? Nice enough. Whatever. Button the book. Off. Button the book. Fine. No, I mean, the shoe where you have me. Nice chat, and every time. Oh, what's that? But not stay hooked. Well, great. But oh, what's that? Not whatever. I mean, oh, what's that? Stay hooked. Off. Stay hooked. Off. I'll bring the name fine. I'll bring the name fine. And I'm going to go Peter. Off. Nice chat, center. Stay hooked. Net. The shoe where you have me.
All right, we're going to be wrapping up the Echo Vox session as Dan Norvell has his appearance.
The shoe where you have me. Chat, center. Well, you do well.
All righty then. Now we're going to get out.
Power off.
Of the Echo Vox session and into our main show. Here we are. All right. I'm thinking on our show, Dan Norvell. He's a very popular, very well ghost hunter, and we will bring him on right now. Dan, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing just great. I was running a little Echo Vox session until you showed up, and here you are.
Yep.
So, how are you doing tonight?
Okay. I have pneumonia. So
You have pneumonia?
I have COVID pneumonia. Yes.
You got COVID.
I had COVID. The doctor thinks around New Year's, and because I was vaccinated, I didn't have many symptoms. But then Sunday night, I came home, I was fine. By Monday morning, I had a fever of 102. And
whoa.
Yeah. And I still have a small fever. I've been on antibiotics now for 3 days, and I'm just now starting to feel a little bit better. So,
Wow.
yes.
I'm
Yeah,
sorry you're going through all that.
it's okay. It's okay. But
Are you
yeah,
going to be able to talk much tonight?
I'm good. I just might not be very loud.
I can hear you just fine.
Okay.
So we're as loud as we need to be for the show. Your mic's picking you up very well.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
since we are live, we need to keep going. What got you into the paranormal?
Well, let me turn mine down just a little bit because I'm getting some background. Um, I've been chasing ghosts since about 1996. My brother and I have a younger brother, and he and I started chasing spirits here locally in 1996. And that just consisted of taking one of those big old cameras with the VHS tape in it to different cemeteries with a tape recorder.
I remember those.
And yeah, and just doing, EVPs and stuff like that. We caught a shadow figure at a cemetery probably about 20 miles from here. And when we went back and we reviewed the tape, we were hooked. And I've pretty much been chasing spirits ever since then. So where are we at? 2006. Yeah, so I got about 25 years in there.
Wow.
So,
That's a lot longer than I have. I've only been in almost about 15 years, although I started doing it as a kid with no equipment. Equipment wise, just 10 years.
Right. Yeah.
What are some of your memorable? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, yeah, I did it on and off, and then in 2009, when I decided, you know what, I'm gonna form a team. We're gonna do this formally, and we did that. And the first team that I ran was called Small Town Paranormal, and my partner Rob and I, we had a team that we formed, and it was my partner Rob, myself, my younger brother, and then really nice lady named Patty, who was our sensitive, and another girl named Renee. And we did some really cool locations. That was pretty much when Facebook was just taking off. So we kind of took the internet by storm. There was a few teams out there, but not a lot of Facebook presence like there is now. And the Facebook parameters were much different back then as well. So, if you had a page out, anybody and everybody saw it. We got tons and tons of followers, right off the bat. And it was going really well. That turned into the Small Town Paranormal family. We had 28 teams worldwide. We had teams in Australia, Ireland, South Africa, Canada. We had a team we were working with in Mexico. Several teams in the U.S. here, over in England. I mean, we had teams all over the place, and I was very proud of what we built. But it wasn't as strong as I thought it was because just one thing tore it apart, and unfortunately, we fell victim to the paradrama that often happens in the paranormal. And after that, I kind of walked away for a while. And about 2012, I branched off and started the Ghost Hunter Dan Norvell project because I wanted to do things by myself and be able to work with whoever I wanted to work with without having to drag the team along. Because, as you know, Len, when people ask you to do stuff, it's very hard to drag, 5 or 6 other people with you. And most of those people who are asking you to be part of something have, 4 or 5, 6 people of their own. So now you have 12 people walking around, this little location, and it just doesn't work out. All your EPP stuff is contaminated. You can't ever say, well, was that sound that we were hearing, those footsteps, another team member, or was it actual footsteps? And up here where we're ghost hunting in northern Illinois, in the wintertime, it's too cold to send one team out and have them wait in their cars while 3 people are in the house. So not really feasible. And I'm one of those people that when we used to do residential investigations, I wanted the resident, at least one of them, there with me, because those are the people that are experiencing this, not me. So my chances, in my mind, were always better to have the people there that were being haunted, because that spirit might be more comfortable with them than it is with me. And it's always produced great results every time I've done it that way. And, Larry and I have discussed this a lot over the years. And if I was to have a team come into my house and I knew nothing about the paranormal, I wouldn't be comfortable with somebody saying, hey, get out of your house all night so that I can go and traipse through it.
Right.
So I know, with my background, from being in corrections for 15 years, I definitely wouldn't be comfortable with that. And I'm not comfortable doing that anyway. If I do something residential, I want somebody to be there. Now, having said all that, I will still do residential investigations if it warrants, or if there are kids involved. But I've kind of shied away from it. And the reason that I have is because of, where Larry and I have decided to take things, with Paraflix and with Expedition Entity. So I don't get to go out and do that stuff, like I used to, because now we have shooting schedules and things to get done. But it's not saying I won't. If somebody needs help, I will definitely help them. And we've never charged anybody a penny. And most, 90% of the teams there don't. And there are some teams that do charge, like for travel or whatever. I'm not here to judge anybody. If somebody wants to give you money to travel to their home, that's between you and them. I just don't choose to do that. So, and I know most teams don't. Sorry, I had to get a breath there. But now that we've kind of switched gears, pretty much everything we do is either Expedition Entity. There's a couple of documentaries that Larry and I are going to start working on that are going to be paranormal documentaries. And, in 2017, Larry and I decided to start a company called Small Town Productions. In 2019, it came to fruition, and then COVID hit. So we've not got to shoot a lot of stuff and put it out, out in the mainstream until Natalie Jones took a shot on us and said, "Hey, Expedition Entity sounds really cool. Yeah, let's give it a shot." And season 1 is done. It's out there. It has been since all 6 episodes have been on Paraflix since November 10th, I believe. And it's done real well. I really enjoy being part of it. Yeah, go ahead.
Let me stop you right there and ask a question.
Sure.
Where can people see these episodes?
Okay. You have to go to www.paraflix, PARAFLIXX.com. And it is a streaming network. It can be seen on by going to the website on your computer. It also is on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire Stick. It is $29.99 a year or $3.99 a month. But you can sign up and get 3 days free to see if you like it, and if you choose to sign up after that and subscribe, you know, I don't think you'd be I don't think you would if you're a true paranormal fan. I don't think you'd be disappointed. There's new shows, new teams bringing shows on there all the time, and they're really cool. They're really good. You know, my good friend Greg Coase is part of Shadow Hunters with Nick Sarlo and their team, and they've got some great episodes on there. So there's just a Ghost Finders is on there. There's a team of ladies from Australia that have a really cool show on there. And then there's a whole bunch of new shows on there. And you know, right here in front of your fans, Len, I got to say thank you so much to Natalie Jones, because she took a shot on us, and it's you know, Larry and I are very humbled to be in the company that we are on Paraflex, and you know, Natalie's really allowed us to put our best foot forward and get it out there for people to see it.
Can we talk a little bit about Larry?
Sure.
I don't know if he wants his last name put out there, or
sure.
How did y'all meet? What do y'all do together?
Okay, Larry Eisler is my partner in crime. Larry and I met in 2010. Larry had just been home from Afghanistan for about a year, maybe just under a year. And he had his own team that he had started in towards the suburbs. Well, I was doing an event for Small Town Paranormal, and Larry had decided to come out and be part of that, because I kind of said, you know, it was a fan public ghost hunt. Anybody's welcome. You know, there was no charge. Whoever showed up, I'd take you to a few places, and we'd do some stuff and then talk about it. And that was the first night I met Larry, and we just kind of kicked it off, or you know, hit it off. And Larry was very instrumental in getting the Small Town family going with myself. By the time we had the Small Town family, my little sister, who lived in Oklahoma, had started her own team in Oklahoma and was doing stuff out there. But when she'd come home to visit the parents and stuff, she would, you know, ghost hunt with us. And that's how Larry and I met. And we've just he's kind of just been part of the team, you know, ever since then. Larry came and joined Small Town Paranormal and dissolved his team. And, you know, he and I would go and investigate with a lot of other people and our team as well. And then, you know, after all the drama went down and I kind of took a few steps back, Larry and the new team were kind of doing stuff together. And Larry called me one night and he said, you know, it's just not the same without you there. How about I come over and be part of the Ghost Hunter Dan project, and you and I do stuff the way we want to? And I said, well, yeah, that's fine. Well, Small Town Paranormal dissolved, you know, about probably 6 months after I left. And a few people wanted to stay active. So we brought those people over to the Ghost Hunter Dan project and kind of started the team thing up again. We were doing that until just about the time COVID hit. And we had a new team. New things were going on. Things were happening really well for us. And I kind of got the same thing, Len. I kind of was like, you know what? I can't keep, trying to schedule things around 5 other people, and some family issues had come up, some personal stuff that I needed to take care of, and I just didn't want to be running a team on top of it. So we dissolved the Ghost Hunter Dan project team, but I allowed those people to stay within the Ghost Hunter Dan project. So if they wanted to do anything, they had a platform to put their stuff out there. And then Larry and I decided, you know what, this is a good opportunity for us to start working on production stuff. And we did that. And then we decided, we were looking at production stuff. We were looking at all sorts of different things, not just ghost stuff, but, commercials, whatever kind of work we could get. And COVID, like I said, Len, it really slapped us down to where nobody was doing anything. And, Larry and I both decided, we'd get tested, and as long as we were both healthy, we would just start doing, ghost stuff on our own again. So he and I started doing investigations again, just us, and shooting a lot of footage. And, we tried a few different things. We did get a few projects that did pay us. And, it just was so slow because of COVID. Larry and I had a discussion one night, and Larry's like, you know what, dude, we got to get back to our roots. We are paranormal investigators, but we're also producers, and we need to make that tie-in. And then we decided to start doing that. And, shortly after, like I said, Paraflix was available, and we contacted Natalie, and she had contacted us back, and, it's all worked out really well. So I'm really proud. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just.
Yeah.
All I was going to say is I'm really proud of the work that we're doing.
You're shooting a lot of B footage, aren't you?
Oh yeah, yeah. We shoot a ton. And
if anybody doesn't know what B footage is not where you're really doing something or so much evidence. It's shooting as you're walking up to something, you're walking away from something. You may have walked into something and maybe covered something up you didn't want seen. You don't want to show that, and you've got to shoot the footage of walking in like you're walking in for the first time, even though your person you walk up to may be mic'd already. It maybe a little bit of road footage. I found that popular.
Yeah, we don't do a lot of in the car stuff, and we don't do a lot of road footage. That's just not something we choose to do. I do like it.
Right.
I know that Ghost Hunters does that. And I think it looks great. We just choose not to do that, but we do a lot of the B-roll stuff, the walking up and between scenes and cuts. The cool thing is for the past over 15 years, I've been a full-time corrections officer, so I don't get a lot of, when I'm off, we got our noses to the grindstone. But in this last few years, Larry's managed to get his bachelor's degree. He'll be graduating from Northern Illinois with a degree in history and in film and production. He's going on to get a master's degree in it and start a undergrad program in the fall. Larry's I have a little brother, but Larry's like the littler brother that I didn't get to have. And, when we're on YouTube or we're on Facebook or you see us doing lives or stuff, I am like the awful older brother who just picks on him left and right. I really do. but Larry always takes it in stride. He knows that I do it with the utmost respect. But he really is like the little brother that I never got to really have. He's kind of like the little brother that my younger brother and younger sister and I all never got to have. So, you got to think there's 17 years difference in us. I mean, I'm old enough, although I'd have been a very young father, I'm old enough to be Larry's dad. Larry's dad's like 2 years older than I am.
Oh, wow.
But, I think the thing that clicks with us so well is he comes from, a military background. And when he does stuff, it's very regimented, and he can look at things from his era, when he was growing up, computers were a big thing in school and stuff like that. When I was growing up and in school, we didn't even have the internet yet.
Right.
We didn't even have AOL.com or dial up. When Larry was in high school and stuff, MySpace was a new thing. We didn't have anything like that, man. I mean, I still went outside and played when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But I think that the age difference allows me to, I'll look at things a lot differently than Larry will. But all the decisions we make together. I pretty much run the investigations, but when the shootings involve Larry's calling the shots, because he knows what it takes to make a good shot. He knows what it's going to look like even before we shoot it and how he wants it done. And I leave all that stuff to him now. When we go to a location, I will assist him in shooting B-roll and stuff, but I'm not a videographer, Len. I mean, I've done video stuff, unprofessionally up until we did the company that we started, but I'm more the writer. I will write the scripts and things for our other projects that we're going to be doing. We're going to be working on a couple projects that we're going to try to put into, documentary film festivals. We're going to shoot a couple short films that we're going to send out to film festivals and things like that, because, I've often said this, and Len, you've been on a few of my lives. Then when you see me come on live, you'll stop in and we'll talk and stuff. And I'll say, hey, Len, and you've heard me say all of this is just something I do. It's not who I am. This is not what defines me. It's not just like I'm Ghost Hunter Dan 24/7. I do a little YouTube channel called Middle Age Maniac, to where I do equipment reviews on knives, axes, outdoor gear. I like to go hunting. I like to go camping. And Larry and I shoot a lot of those videos with our our camera equipment, and every little thing we do for Middle Age Maniac or Ghost Hunter Dan or Expedition Entity, that's all another learning experience. It's another credit to what we're trying to do. And in the process of all that, I've written 6 books since I've been in the paranormal. The last 2 books I've co-written with Larry. Well, actually, Larry and I've written 3 books together, but we'll only talk about the last 2. Larry and I kind of want to forget about the first one. It's out there, and and I think he kind of agrees. We kind of like to forget about it. Not that what's in that book isn't the way we still look at investigations, but I think that our our popularity at the time made us want to, you know, put our way of doing things out to the world, and it wasn't a great seller because, you know, nobody really wanted to look at it anyway. And I think the end result is the biggest thing that people want to see, not hear your theory about why you do what you do. So, you know, our first book that we did together that was, you know, tried and true successful in my eyes was The Ghost of the Black Hawk War. And, you know, I got a shout out to Mike Ricksecker from Haunted Road Media for taking a chance on Larry and I and being our publisher and getting it out there. And it turned out so well. I can't thank Mike enough. And then our second book together is Afterlife Anthology. Both are available on Amazon. And incidentally, Len, anybody can find anywhere we're at. If you go to www.ghosthunterdannorvell.com, it'll link you to our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram, our YouTube. There's a link there for Paraflix, shows all of our books. Got a little bio on there about Larry and I, although I need to update mine. But yeah, we wrote that book together, and that book is got 16 fictional stories, very loosely based on experiences that Larry and I have had. But it is a totally fictional book, and the difference is that the ghost is telling you the story. So you're experiencing that story through the ghost's perspective. You know, and good versus evil is ever present in that book. So that may interest a few of your viewers. I don't know. But I really had a good time writing those stories. And people who know me, you know, intimately as more than an acquaintance on Facebook, they can pick out the parts of those stories that are me. You know, my good friend Sandy Wells, when she read the book, she's like, yeah, that story was all about this part of your life and that, you know, so, but Mike Ricksecker also published that one for us. And like I said, I can't thank Haunted Road Media enough, and Mike and Paraflix, Natalie, enough for taking the chances that they did on Larry and I. And it kind of seemed like when Larry and I stepped back and decided to, you know, focus more on the production stuff, is when things started to happen, because, you know, we still have our love of the paranormal as part of everything. And I'm still writing. I'm just not writing as much as I used to, because now it's scripts. It's okay. I want to write the story, but I want to see it on film. So now I'm trying to change. You know, it's hard for me in the way I write a story to now switch that all to a script, because script writing and story writing are two totally different animals. And I think Larry gets a little upset with me sometimes, because I have a hard time doing that. I'm a great storyteller. I'm a very less than mediocre script writer. So, you know, for these first couple short films, we may have to get somebody to turn my story into a script. But ultimately, you know, the finished product, like I said earlier, is what I want to put out there to the world. So, got a lot of stories to tell. You know, just film is, you know, we found our niche, and film is the way that we're going to tell those stories now.
Let's see. So all your books are available on Amazon.
Yes.
Is that correct? Listen to me. Yeah. Well, today has not been a good day for me. The wife's down with a arthritic hip, and I was up almost all night last night. I just got a couple hours sleep today. So it's not a good day, but here I am, making the best of it.
That's what I'm doing too.
And by the way, next time you're coming out with a book or you're coming out with a movie, I do want to get you on the show to promote that. All right?
Sure. Yeah,
just let me know.
Well, we've already started shooting season 2 of Expedition Entity for Paraflix. And like I said, I've been sick since on and off since between Christmas and New Year's. But like I said, I've really been sick since Monday. This is the first day I even feel slightly better. As a matter of fact, I had told Larry that you had invited me on the show, and I said, I may have to call and cancel if I can't talk. And Larry goes, well, why don't you wait and see how you feel Thursday? And I feel good enough to where, I'm sitting here anyway. So there's no problem for me to be on your show. And I really do appreciate you having me on.
Well, I appreciate you being here. We've probably both got other things we like to do, like go lay down.
Yeah, that's okay.
And
I'm getting
you're talking about.
I've been doing a lot of late.
You're talking about Mike Rosucker. I've always thought he was a great guy. What do you think of him?
I think Mike is awesome. He was going to do a paranormal convention down in not at Ashmore, but where's McPike Mansion? I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Alton.
I've never been there, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's in Alton, Illinois. Mike was going to have a big paranormal conference down there and feature his writers. And COVID hit, and Larry has personally met Mike. I've never actually shook Mike's hand, but I've talked to him quite a few times. And Mike is just an awesome guy. I cannot say enough things, about Mike. He's just a very well-spoken person. Mike's one of those guys who's enjoyed success, but he's not forgotten where he's come from, and he doesn't talk down to people. I think, Len, that's the biggest problem I have is, and like I said, you and I have been friends on Facebook now for about 2 or 3 years. You've seen my live feeds, and I'm going to keep it very tame because this is your show, but as well as I do, I don't bite my tongue very often. I say what I'm thinking, whether you like it or not. And I'm just a no BS kind of person. I call it as I see it. And if people can't handle that, well, they're probably not the kind of people I want to be around anyhow. But the one thing that I can guarantee you is I'm not fake. You're going to know how I feel, and I don't really give a damn if it ticks you off or not. I'm 50 years old. I don't pull punches, and I think a lot of that comes from, altogether, Len, I've been either a firefighter or a corrections officer since I was 19 years old. So for 31 years, for the last 31 years, I've worn a uniform of some sort. I was a firefighter for 16 years. I was a paramedic for 6. 4 of those years in Chicago as a paramedic. And then I got out of that and became a corrections officer. So, for 31 years, I have worn a uniform. And I got about 4.5 years left at the jail, and I'm going to guarantee you I will never put another damn uniform on as long as I live after that. The day I retire, I will not put another. I don't I think that I've had enough. I'll have done 35 years of public service. I think I've had enough.
That's enough. That's more than enough to me.
Well,
In my book, for your service.
I'll be honest with you, sir. If Larry and I ever sign to do something big to where it will pay the bills, I'll be leaving the jail sooner. And they know
I don't blame you a bit.
So, you know,
you do know that's one of the reasons I left Illinois, isn't it?
What's that?
You know what? I lived in Chicago for 14 and a half years. That's how Dale Casberick and I became friends.
Okay.
And that's how I was lucky and fortunate enough to do in fact the last John Dillinger show with Richard Crow.
Oh, okay.
On the anniversary of John Dillinger's killing, there at the Biograph and in the alley. I was actually kind of helping him out a little bit with that, and got to investigate the alley during daylight hours before his event, and then I went back after his event investigating the alley.
That's cool.
So I was lucky enough to do with Richard Crow, and we sat at the bar for about 4 hours, just me and Richard, picking each other's brains. And then I joined the Westerners, and as you probably know, Richard Crow is a member of that and the Civil War Roundtable. I was also a member of that. So I got to hang around Richard. We got to know each other very well, and I consider myself much the better for the experience and privilege to have shared the last couple of years of his life. So I'm very grateful for that.
Well, yeah.
And
you mentioned Dale,
yes.
And I've got to go out now. We've got to take Dale out to a couple of the Black Hawk War sites. And I'll tell you what, Dale is just awesome. I love working with Dale.
Yes. Anytime, any place, anywhere, I will work with Dale Casberick.
Yeah.
He is a great guy.
Dale wanted me to go to Gettysburg with him, and I couldn't get the time off. And if I ever get the chance before I retire from the jail to go with Dale, I definitely will. I think the world of Dale, and actually, since I've been sick, I need to send him a write-up from our last investigation out at Kellogg's Grove together. He had contacted me before Christmas, and I've been so big. My daughter goes to school up in Minnesota, and she had to leave to go back early. And it just seemed like, from December 15th until now, it's just been nothing but a big crap show for me. So I need to get that written up and sent off to him this weekend.
Okay. Tell you what, we got to leave it right there. We got to go to commercial break. In about 2 or 3 minutes, we'll be back. So if you want to get you a drink of water or go to the potty, whatever you need to do. And we'll be back in about 2 minutes, actually. So right now we go to commercial break. See you on the other side. Here we go again.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers. Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Rochester Winter Parafest is back, March 25th, 26th, and 27th of 2022. Come say hi to Naked and Afraid celebrities Melanie Elizabeth and Trent Nielsen, Haunted Case Files Jack Kenna, Monster Quest Steve Coles, and more. This event has it all: paranormal investigators, UFO researchers, Bigfoot researchers, and even photo opportunities for the kids with Buddy the Bigfoot. Oh, okay, adults too. Come on down and get a tattoo from Ink Master Tony DeVille. There are psychic gallery and individual readings, as well as radio personalities, authors, jewelry, makeup artists, and so much more. It's only $15 per person, and children under 10 are free. March 25th, 26th, and 27th of 2022. For more information, go to WLFE-DB.com. Yes, Winter Parafest is back. Valley Oak Event Center, Geneseo, New York, next to Denny's.
Try again, buddy. Try again. Yay! Okay. Oh yeah! Good job. Oh.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.
As you can tell, one of the Rochester, excuse me, Paracon is one of the network sponsors here at WLFE-DB, and you can see the whole list of people that's going to be there at that Paracon in March. I wish we had something like this here in Arkansas, but our Paracon here has been canceled for the last 2 years because of what we've been talking on and off about COVID, and it's impacted everybody's life. I am blessed so far to have not had it like you have. And it's just been the aggravating points with me. And, my heart goes out to the families of the people who've died from COVID, been put on ventilators, and my heart goes out to them. It's a sad situation. Again, I've been blessed. And again, this is one reason that I moved from Chicago after 14 and a half years. My wife's a native Chicagoan, and we moved down to Arkansas because we live here on 4 acres of land. She only works part-time. I'm completely retired. This is our retirement home. It's paid for. And I can pretty well do, I'm limited by finances, of course, what I can do. But I can do pretty much anything I can afford. And my team is just me. She holds my back, when I'm out investigating and filming. I wish I had somebody like Larry. You are really, really blessed to have him, and you could quote me on that to him if you want to. You're very lucky to have him.
Sell him to you cheap.
Well, there's 2 empty lots next to me. They're 4 acres each. We had a guy building a ranch home, his retirement home, behind us here, and it spoiled the hunting area of the guy who owns the property's son, who lives across the street from me. So he can no longer hunt there. So I imagine he would turn loose of those of all 8 acres if he wanted them at a good price. And if he wanted to, he could come down here and build him a house on 4 acres or 8 acres, his choice, and he do what he wants to do. Then then I'd have a big advantage of a producer.
You would. No, I am very blessed. I know I give Larry a lot of BS, but you know, a lot of times Larry will tell me, you know, Dan, you're the talent in front of the camera. That's who people want to hear. That's who people want to see. But the real talent is behind the camera because he makes me look that good. You know, you know, the other thing is kind of like when you're a firefighter, you got to trust the person you're at a place with. And, you know, Larry and I have done some cleansings together and been part of some really just hokey, goofy stuff since being in the paranormal together. And, you know, I know he's got my back and he knows I got his. And that's the big thing, is there is a lot of trust. Now, I'm not going to, you know, I mentioned him being the little brother we didn't get to have, and I'm not going to say that sometimes we don't butt heads, because we do. But it's never, you know, Larry and I, when we talk, we never hang up pissed off at each other. And that's important. I mean, he's one of the best friends I have in the world. And like I said, for the age difference, for us to have as much in common as we do, you know, that's unheard of. But Larry is a lot more mature than his age, and I'm a lot more immature than my age. So, you know, we're probably around the same maturity level. But looking back, Len, I'm sure you've heard it, and Dale and I were talking one night when I was investigating with him. If you could only put an old head on young shoulders, the things I could have accomplished 20 years ago had I known then what I know now.
Yes. Wow. Well, for one, we'd have both bought a lot of stock in Facebook when they first went public.
I'd have bought into Bitcoin. Well, actually, it's funny. Larry and I were talking, and my daughter's going to be 21. When she was 2 years old, my dad and I were buying $20 gold pieces, Len, for $264 a piece. And we resold them about 5 years after the fact for about $800 a piece. So we made a damn good profit. If I still had those now,
yeah.
Well, let's just say I could retire from the jail today.
Yeah, because that's what, $1,800 an ounce?
About $1,800 an ounce. Yeah. And the gold pieces are worth more because you have that numismatic value. I'm saying that wrong. But it's the value of being U.S. currency that actually makes it even worth more.
Right.
So, yeah, I've been buying some silver here and there because that's about all I can afford right now with a kid in college and another one soon to follow. He just turned 16. He's one hell of a football player. He's an even better basketball player.
What positions?
My son plays receiver and fullback. He had 3 touchdown catches in his last game. He actually had a catch and ran one in for about 70 yards. But my son just turned 16 a week and a half ago. This kid's 6'3" and 200 pounds. and I'd say he's probably around 11% body fat. He's a big kid, and it's, you know, he looks like he's 21. I mean, this kid can grow a full beard and everything. It's sometimes hard for me.
What's his 40 time?
What's that?
What's his 40 time?
You know what, Len? I have no idea. He is here. He's getting ready to work out. Hey, Lucas, how fast do you do the 40, son? What's your last time?
Just under 5.
Just, he says under 5 seconds, Len. That's I have no idea.
That's not bad.
He's
at his height and weight, he could probably make a very good college wide receiver.
Yeah, he's standing right here. Here, come over here, kid. You're gonna be on national TV here. This is my son. I would like to get him a haircut. But yeah, this kid's 16 and he can grow a full beard. He did a TikTok video the other day, and there was people on there going, "There's no way you're 16. You got to be 20." I was like, I mentioned on there, I said, I was there when he was born, and trust me, he's 16 years old. So, but he's a good kid. He's built like a brick shit house. Go ahead and go and do what you got to do here.
Yeah, if he can get a little bit faster in the 40,
yeah,
get that speed up a little bit at 6'2" and 200. That's good size for a college wide receiver. They'll be recruiting him.
Actually, at his present speed, he'd probably be one hell of a tight end.
If he keeps on getting bulked up, yes.
And he's at the beginning of summer, Len, he was only 164 pounds.
Okay. Well, at that kind of rate, let's talk tight end.
Yep. He's something else. He's strong, real strong. He's a strong kid. He's right now, he deadlifted 405. He's benching 285. And he's squatting 335, but I know he could squat more.
Wow.
I know he could squat.
We're talking tight end at a fairly major college.
The other thing is he's a sophomore in high school, and he's the only one at the school that can slam dunk the basketball at his size.
Wow.
And he decided not to play basketball this year. He wanted to concentrate on getting bigger for next football season. So we'll see.
Well, at that kind of height, and he's continuing to grow. If he can get good enough, if his hands are big enough, I didn't ask him to spread his hands out, but if his hands are big enough and he continues growing like that, you could be talking going pro at tight end.
Yeah, he's definitely committed. He works out 7 days a week.
Well, I wish him all the luck there is in his high school and college careers with football.
I appreciate it, and I know he does. So, yeah, I'm proud of him.
Okay, let's get back to the paranormal here. Well, we still got a little bit. What kind of projects you got planned in the future? Have you got any investigations planned? After you get over COVID, maybe things settle down and it warms up a little bit up there.
Yeah, we have a few locations that we're looking at. We have a couple projects that we have to finish up that are paranormal, kind of a paranormal background, and then one's really not. For our company, like I said, we started shooting season 2 already of Expedition Entity, and our first season was 6 episodes. Natalie is okay with us doing 6 episodes per season. I would like to see us get 8 or 9 this second season if we could. if we only get 6, we only get 6. You know, I don't know about it down in Arkansas, Len, but up here, you know, it's sometimes hard to get into locations. And, you know, the thing that Larry and I strive ourselves on is the less well-known places. You know, I don't need to go to Waverly Hills to do an episode there. There's been hundreds of teams that have done episodes of YouTube or, you know, network television. I don't need to go there and prove or disprove that Waverly Hill's haunted because I know it's haunted. I'm more interested in the little country cemetery on the side of the hill that nobody goes to, but they all talk about it being haunted and nobody's been there before. You know, and that's what, you know, attracted Dale to come out and go to the Blackhawk sites with Larry and I, because the Black Hawk War of 1832 is a largely forgotten war. And what people don't realize is that the Black Hawk War, you know, kicked off. Stillman Valley is literally 13 miles down the road from where I'm sitting right now and where I live. And Chicago didn't become a city until 1833. And the reason that Chicago got built where it is, it used to be Fort Dearborn, was because of all the Indian uprising in this area. The military needed a fort there. And after the Black Hawk War was over with, you know, you're on Lake Michigan and in the Great Lakes, perfect place to build a city, right? And now we have beautiful Chicago. But, you know, the Black Hawk War was basically the kickoff of the Trail of Tears. You know, that one conflict in American history that nobody really talks about was more instrumental in many things that happened after the fact than people realize. They do not realize just how important of a war that really was. And, you know, like Dale said, when you know, Dale talked to me at one of Kathy Kressel's conferences up at the Rockford Ghost Conference that our good friend Kathy puts on. And that was the first time I did my Black Hawk War presentation, and Dale came up and he said, you got to take me to these places. And, you know, lo and behold, I take Dale out there and he's catching stuff. And Dale said, you know, he goes, because Dale's a very, very thorough and great historian, but he said, you know, Dan, he goes, I never heard a whole lot about the Black Hawk War until you were talking about it. He goes, I knew it happened and I knew what it was, but I never really, you know, gave it a second thought. And I explained to Dale, I said, you know, I never did either, but you know, Len, one night I was sitting on Facebook and I was like, you know, people are going to Gettysburg, people are going to, you know, Vicksburg and all these Civil War battle sites. And I called Larry up and I said, dude, there's like a battle site, a battleground literally 13 miles from my house. And as far as I know, nobody's ever been there. And lo and behold, you know, now we've been to the Stillman Valley Battleground numerous times. It is one of our episodes on Paraflix right now of Expedition Entity. And, you know, we have 3 or 4 battlegrounds up here in Northern Illinois and other, you know, numerous small skirmish sites scattered around in Ogle County and Stevenson County. And, you know, the places are there if you look. And that's kind of what we pride ourselves for Expedition Entity. I want to go to places where nobody's heard about. You know, everybody goes to the Congress Hotel in Chicago. We all know it's haunted. Everybody goes to, like I said, Waverly Hills. Everybody goes to the Stanley. Everybody goes here. Everybody, you know, how many people go to the Black Hawk War site? Well, Dan and Larry do. Dale's been there with us. Numerous other investigators have been there. There's a lot that still would like to go there with us. And I'm so proud of the men that stood their ground so that the coward Isaiah Stillman could make his escape. You and we have a very good rapport with the spirits over there. We were able to cross Captain Adams because he was stuck there when we first were going there. We were able to cross him and get him out of there. And now Captain Adams comes back and talks to us. And I'm here to tell you, Len, some of your viewers or listeners may tell me I'm crazy. I'm not here to make the skeptic a believer, the believer a skeptic. I know what I feel when I'm there, and I'm not psychic or anything like that or sensitive. My good friend Sandy says I'm empathic, so maybe I am. I don't know, but you can literally tell when Captain Adams comes back to visit us, because that battlefield takes on a whole different feeling. And I'll say on the Captain Adams, are you here? And across him, yes. And you can almost tell. And even Larry, who's definitely not sensitive or anything, says, yeah, you can definitely tell when he's here.
Let's talk Captain Adams then. Who was he and what was he?
Captain John Giles Adams was a captain in the Illinois militia. And historically, he has been likened to General Custer in the fact that, they thought that there was 1,000 British band warriors coming at him that night. And him and those 8 other men held the high ground, so that Stillman and his other 260 guys could make it back to Dixon's Ferry, and left those men there to die. They knew it was certain death, and they stayed anyway. And Captain Adams was, highly revered for his acts of heroism. Him and another gentleman who was a private were the only ones that were beheaded. And a lot of times the Indians would behead the militia or the United States soldiers because they had killed one of theirs in battle. And I think Captain Adams probably killed about 3 or 4 Sauk warriors in battle that night. But when I say that the Indians massacred those guys, they massacred those guys. They scalped every one of them. They beheaded Captain Adams. They beheaded one of the other privates. They disemboweled them. President Lincoln, who was a young captain himself in the Illinois militia during the Black Hawk War, and actually helped to bury those men there and in Kellogg's Grove. President Lincoln never saw action as a young captain, but he always was there like a day late and dollar short, but was always there for the burials. And of his own account, he said, during my days of the Black Hawk War, when we rode up, it was a grotesque scene. They were disemboweled. There were entrails all over the place. It was a pretty, violent death for those guys. And I would imagine that Captain Adams watched all of his men die, and then Sauk warriors killed him too. Wow. Very brave, very, very brave man. I hold Captain Adams in the utmost high regards. And, and I often say this, I've never made it a secret that I'm no fan of Zach Bagans. I'm not jealous of him. I commend him on his success, but the way he goes in and yells at these spirits and tries to provoke them and stuff. Larry and I, from the get-go, since we started investigating together, we don't provoke anybody, and we are always as respectful as we can possibly be. And I'm here to tell you, Len, we've never had a problem talking to any spirits. And I often say in my lives and on shows and stuff, put yourself in that spirit's position or that ghost position. You don't want, if somebody came into our house right now, if somebody walked in my front door right now, Len, and started talking to me like that, I'd throw their ass out of here. You would too.
Right.
You don't want to be talked to like that. So why would I go to somebody's house or somebody's final resting place or where they lost their life and start being a jerk? You know, and that's the problem I have with Zach, is because I see other people emulate him and do the same thing. And, you know, I understand Zach probably does a lot of that because that's what keeps his ratings up and keeps him on TV, and that's what pays the bills and whatever you have to do. But, you know, I'm not willing to sell who I am out for any amount of money to be a jackass on these battlegrounds or these houses or treat these spirits bad. So I don't have to. And I don't have any problems communicating.
I don't have many problems either. I'm kind of like you. I live about 27 miles from the Allen house.
Okay.
If you're familiar with that, that was, in fact, it was the Allen house was where the premiere of the Ghost Brothers were.
Okay.
Ghost Adventures has been there too. Supposedly one of the most haunted private residences in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, yeah, I'd rather investigate these smaller places. Recently, during COVID, I'd had a break, not this past summer before, and there was 3 or 4 lesser known skirmish places. And my problem is getting myself, not being former military, I don't have that military discipline to go in there, edit, and make video. I find myself being a procrastinator when I'm trying to make a video. That's my biggest problem. There's another place here locally. I investigated it when I first came down here 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
There's an old abandoned hospital in Dumas, and I got several voices and footsteps there. And in fact, I had a female spirit saying, "Shut up, don't talk, don't listen to him, don't talk," trying to hush the spirits up talking. You'd love to get in that place.
That would be cool. That would be really.
I'm the only one that's ever investigated it. And
really?
The problem is there are homeless people there, and even the police would think twice about going in there at night to do a nighttime investigation. They hesitated me doing a daytime investigation for 4.5 hours.
Right.
For us to go in there at night, they'd probably ask us all to pack a little heat just in case. And because it's not, Dumas is not a safe town, and it's not a safe location.
Well, and the thing is, you know, I'm going to go back to my days as a lieutenant in the fire department. When I would be teaching new firefighters and paramedics, you know, I'd always say, don't make their emergency your emergency. And what I meant by that was, if you go rushing in to help somebody and you get that tunnel vision and step on a wire or something, you can't help anybody if you're now dead. And
right.
And if something happens to you, now that person that needed us first, I'm going to draw all my attention to you because you're one of my guys. You're going to come first. Now I can't help anybody else because now I have to help you because you had tunnel vision. This happens with paranormal investigators too. You know,
yes, it does.
When I first put the team together, Len, I was the same damn way. I wanted to go to anybody and everybody's house. I wanted to take all my stuff and go traipsing around that house. And, you know, I'm going to find you answers. I'm going to talk to these spirits and blah, 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 blah. And now, you know, time and maturity and experience in the field, I'm not so quick to go running into a house. And the reason is because sometimes maintaining the
Right.
status quo is your best option. And, as a matter of fact, I just had a lady call me a couple of weeks ago. I really think you should bring your stuff and come to my house. And, the first thing lady had never talked to me before. She had gotten my name from a friend of hers that saw our page. And I said, well, ma'am, I said, the biggest thing that I'm going to ask you right now is if I bring my stuff in there and I upset this spirit, I said, or do you feel in danger right now? No, I just kind of want to know what's here. I said, okay, if I come in there and I upset that spirit, I'm leaving at midnight and you're now there with it. And now it's pissed. So do you maintain the status quo or do you just say, oh, hell with it, come on in there? And I wouldn't used to do that, Len, because it was something I didn't think about. And number two, I was as gung-ho as all these new investigators are. And hey, I'll go anywhere. I'll do anything. I'll take every damn house investigation. And that's the biggest reason that Larry and I don't do a lot of residential is because, people are still hooked on Ghostbusters. They think we're going to walk in there and walk out with a steaming trap and now everything's going to be great. And that is not the way it works.
No, it doesn't work that way.
No,
it doesn't work that way. Sometimes it's easy.
I'm sorry, Len, you cut out on me.
Sometimes I wish it was that easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Oftentimes we leave a location with way more questions than we ever got answers. And, Len, I'm all about thinking outside the box and having new people come to the field. I think that change is good. And I think that, new blood is always a great thing. And I would encourage anybody that wants to take part in paranormal investigating to at least try it out to see if it's a fit for you. And you may be, the next team on TV 20 years from now, or 10 years from now, or 5 years from now, whatever. But my biggest problem, and I don't mean to sound like an ass, but I'm going to, my biggest problem is these people that have only been around for 2 months and they're starting to, I see it all the time. They're giving people advice on possible demonic, presences and things like this. And it's like, you stop and you think to yourself, you've been in the field for like 2 minutes and you're giving people advice on how to deal with a demon and you have no clue. You probably not even shot 10 minutes of video, but yet you're giving people advice. It's just like when I first started in a team concept, we had this guy who was a demonologist and he was 22 years old, Len. Now, I'm not saying there's not 22-year-olds out there that are sharp as tacks, because there are. But usually ologist comes after something that somebody studied for a long time, and you usually don't get ologist after your name with at least 8 years of study. And okay, so if you're 22, you got out of high school at 18, unless you were extremely smart and you got out at 15 or at 17, but you're not an ologist anything. You're like everybody else. You went and read some demonology book and now you think you have the answers.
Right.
And that's a very dangerous game to be playing.
Right.
I've never.
If you can learn everything from one book, everybody could do it.
Absolutely.
You got to have the book learning, and you've got to have some kind of experience.
And that's my biggest problem is I don't subscribe to this becoming a certified paranormal investigator either, because what parameters are you using? What kind of Len, there was this meme going around on Facebook, and it said paranormal investigator, ghost hunter. There is a difference. There's no difference. If it walks like a duck and talks like a duck, it's a duck. But the reason I bring this meme up is that there's people out there that share that meme all the time because there's some self-proclaimed, I'm doing everything the right way, you're doing it wrong kind of a person. Their mind isn't open to anything. And, if they studied science to any extent, they would realize that when you have a theory, to prove that theory, you have to reproduce similar to exact results over and over and over and over and over in a laboratory setting. Well, how many hospitals like the one you were just talking about are you going to be able to make a controlled environment or a laboratory setting? How many houses am I going to go to and create that? How many battlefields am I going to be able to go and create a controlled environment lab setting? It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen.
No.
Last time I knew, we're all under the guise that spirits are people that have passed before us or they're inhuman. And you're not going to get me to jump around on a box and hold 1 foot up. And you're not going to get these spirits to come and perform on command over and over and over and over in your controlled environment. It's not going to happen because they were people. People don't want to be treated like a monkey, and they're not going to act like a monkey for you.
Mm-hmm.
And when,
correct.
We as paranormal investigators get off our high horses and realize that and use that, thing on our shoulders for something other than a damn hat rack, we're going to be a lot farther along. I've always called myself Ghost Hunter Dan because that sounds better than Paranormal Investigator Dan. I still think it's BS. I think that, people are wasting a lot of time on something that really, in the grand scheme of things, does not make a damn bit of difference. I wrote a blog years ago talking about that very thing. And, I talked about an accident scene that I walked onto, and family got in an accident, and their child was hurt pretty bad and pinned in the car. And what I had said in this vlog, to tie it to what I'm talking about now, is when I was walking up to help that family out, to help unpin their child and treat that child, do you think that mom and dad that were frantic gave a shit that my title was Lieutenant Dan Norvell, firefighter, EMTP? No. They gave two shits that I had a helmet on and I was willing to crawl into that car and make their child comfortable and protect that child as well as I could until we disentangled that car from him and then get him to treatment. That's what they were worried about. They didn't give two shits, pardon my French, I'm so sorry, Len, but they didn't give a damn what my title was. And when a family that is having a paranormal experience that's terrifying calls you for help, they don't care what you call yourself either. They don't care if I'm Ghost Hunter Dan, Paranormal Investigator Dan, or Parapsychologist Dan. Can you help me? Great. Get your rear in here. So I think that there's a lot of people out there that focus on stuff that we shouldn't be focusing on. What we should be focusing on is getting along a lot better and not judging people for what they're posting or what they're saying, and try to be as supportive as you can. And if you disagree with somebody, fine, disagree, but you don't have to make it into a whole crusade. There's plenty of paranormal investigators out there that I disagree with, but you don't see me starting a crusade to say, oh, such and such said this, and that's a completely wrong, and they're doing it wrong, and blah, 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 blah. There is no right or wrong. If you're not disrespecting the spirits and you're not making a bad situation more volatile than it already is, then you're not doing anything wrong. It's just like the Ouija board thing. I've had people say there will be no Ouija boards come into this house or into this location. And I don't use Ouija boards either, but when I take my dowsing rods in, or when I kick up that Phasma box or whatever, when I take an EVP recorder, am I just not using a digital or an electronic Ouija board in essence? Pretty much.
Right.
Pretty much. So, the Ouija board in of itself is not an evil thing. What's bad about the Ouija board is it's a game that's marketed towards 8-year-olds and 10-year-olds that could open something that they have no concept of how to deal with, and now you've let it enter here, and somebody's going to have to deal with it. That's the negative thing about a Ouija board. But if you or I were to buy one, it's no different than us doing an EVP session.
Right.
My opinion only.
Or a ghost box session, Echo Vox session, whatever title of the device you're using, you're doing the same thing.
Absolutely.
You're trying to start communication with the other side, and you need to shut it down with a little prayer. Tell them they're no longer welcome here. They can talk while the device is on, but they need to go away when you turn it off.
Yep. And that's the thing that we don't put in the episodes of Expedition Entity is when Larry and I wrap up and we leave these cemeteries or these battlegrounds, we'll say, whoever may still be with us, you need to remain in the confines of the cemetery. You're not allowed to come with us. You have to stay here or go to wherever the Lord wants you to go. And we thank you. We appreciate you communicating with us, and we'll be back to try this again. And then we'll do the St. Michael's prayer. If there was anything negative, I'll do it most of the time anyway. And then we make our exit. But I usually don't put that stuff on film, and the reason is because you've always got a certain group of people. Well, I don't want you to be pushing your religion down my throat. I'm not pushing my religion down anybody. My thing is I know what my relationship with the Lord is. I don't have to explain it to anybody else. And at the jail that I work at, when a guy came up to me one time and we do Bible study classes for the detainees that we have, well before COVID broke out. And he said, I'm not really sure about God. This gentleman was about 23 years old. And he said, I'd like to learn more and this, that, and the other thing. And he said, I just don't know. I said, well, I'm not here to make your decision for you. If you want to go and try Bible study and ask some of those questions, do it. And he said, well, I said, here's the way you can look at it. Would you rather believe and find out somebody wasn't there, or not believe and find out somebody was there? I said, if you believe and you die and you end up in a dank, dark hole with 6 feet of dirt above you and nobody was there, well, what did you lose for believing? I said, but if you end up in that same place and somebody was there and you didn't believe, well, then you got a lot to lose, don't you? Like I said, Len, I don't have to have it proven to me. I've seen enough miracles in the time that I rode the ambulance to make me a believer. And, some people look at me and go, you're so full of it, and you're whatever. I'm like I said, I'm not here to make the skeptic a believer, the believer a skeptic. There's always going to be a certain amount of people out there that you and I, Len, could sit down and have a full-on video discussion with President Lincoln and his apparition sitting in front of us, and there would be hundreds of thousands of people that said, nope, because they're not going to believe anything And what my issue
Right.
is with that is, why are you watching us if you're never going to believe anyone?
Exactly.
Like,
And
why?
a lot of people in today's world would disagree with anything Lincoln said because
Yeah.
it doesn't fit their political outlook.
Right.
And they'd be saying that can't be President Lincoln. Lincoln would never have said that.
Yeah.
Just for politics. And it's just a crazy world we live in. And that's one reason I have not disciplined my to make, even I've got video creating software to do it, because nobody is going to really believe what I'm showing on video.
Yeah.
I got video of full-bodied apparitions. If you look in the right place on the screen, there they are. I did not fake this. I did not even know I filmed it until I reviewed the video. My wife looks over my shoulder and says, "Where's the ghost you're talking to?" I said, "Standing right." She said, "Who's that background?" I looked, and there's a woman in a full bell type dress walking back and forth in the background several times. She walked out of sight and walked back into sight 2 or 3 times.
Yep.
But nobody, people would say that's fake, that's double imaging or something.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had people tell us, that, oh, that's not what you're looking at, or I've never had anybody accuse us of faking anything. But I have had people tell me, well, that's not what you're seeing, or that's not what that is, or whatever. And, my thing is if you weren't there, when I see other people put stuff up, Len, and they say, that they are seeing whatever they're showing and seeing, I wasn't there. I don't know how, I don't know what the environment was like. I don't know if it was cold, if it was hot. I don't know
Exactly.
if it was heavy, if it felt light. I don't know if you felt like your fight or flight was going to kick in and you needed to get the hell out of there, or you felt comfortable enough to stay, or I wasn't there. So I can't judge anything. The only thing that I'm able to judge is what I do and what I shoot and what I choose to throw out there. That's it.
Exactly.
But I'm also smart enough to know that you and I are part of a community that as well as I do. If you ever fake anything, you're done. You might as well sell your equipment, because you are done. That's it. You'll never have credibility again.
Exactly. So last week, that shot, they did get an interesting shadow going across, and they were asking, "What do you think of this?" We're debating it, and the group of 3 or 4 people were about 50-50 split, as it's got to be one of our own shadows, or this was a shadow figure.
Right.
And they said, "What do y'all think?" And I looked at it, what you just said. I said, "I wasn't there." I said, "I don't know where everybody was standing. I don't know if there was any kind of light behind anybody that would have cast a shadow in the camera range. And without me being there, I can't say what this is. They may have some interesting evidence. They may simply have one of their team's own shadows."
Absolutely.
And I can't judge other people's stuff.
Right. Well, the problem is, Len, is we live in the day and age of keyboard warriors who will sit there and judge you, me, and everybody else, and they have no lick of experience whatsoever. They just think they know what they're talking about. And, everybody grows, brass balls this big around when they're sitting behind their computer keyboard and screen 1,000 miles away from me. Something they would never come and say to my face, because I'm 6 foot, I'm 285 pounds, and I'm a corrections officer. Because they wouldn't get away with saying that kind of stuff to my face. but they'll say it on a keyboard because,
Right.
there's no that you may get yelled at, or somebody may come to your defense, or somebody may join in their fight or whatever. But there's no discipline. There's no, you don't have to answer for anything on the internet, and that's why bullying is such a bad thing with our kids, and it carries over into the paranormal. I mean, I see paranormal teams bully other paranormal teams all the time, and it just makes me sick. I literally throw up my mouth. And that's why, Len, that's why I kind of just do what I do. If you want to watch. If you don't, don't. I'm not out begging for fans. I'm not out begging for anything. I'm putting stuff out there, and if you choose to enjoy it and take it for the production value and for the value of the location and for the value of the spirits that we were able to communicate with, that were good enough to come and talk to us, and you take it for that, you'll enjoy the show. If you want to critique the hell out of it, and that's my show or anybody's show, if you want to critique the hell out of it and think that everything is BS, you're never going to enjoy anything paranormal, and you might as well not even watch it. So, you got to take everything what it is.
So just get out of this, get out of it paranormal.
Absolutely. Why are you even here if all you want to do is be a bully? And I've dealt with it myself, and I've watched other people deal with it. And, Larry and I, we have a no BS kind of thing. If somebody says something on our page, I don't argue with them. I just delete and block them. Gone. You're gone. Don't have time for you.
That's it. They're gone.
Yep. I don't have time for you.
Yep.
So I've deleted and blocked a lot of friends. When the whole Trump Biden thing was going down, the thing is, Len, is I don't care who you or anybody else voted for. I don't care. And these people would get on there and say, well, if you're a Democrat, I don't want to be friends with you. If you're a Republican, I don't want to be friends with you. It shouldn't matter. That's like saying, if you're Catholic, I don't want to talk to you. If you're Lutheran, I don't want to talk to you. It's stupid. You shouldn't judge somebody for who they decided to vote for. And, so many people made this a personal thing. And, a friend of mine put on there one day, if you voted for President Trump, I don't want to be friends with you. You know what? I'll do you the favor and delete and block. There's plenty of people out there that want to be friends for legitimate reasons. And I'd rather make room for those people than keep somebody on there who's just going to stir the pot all the time anyway, and not like me for who I may or may not have voted for.
I'm right there with you.
So,
I've got almost 5,000 friends on Facebook, which is the max.
Yep.
And what I do, I start if they want to post, if all they're doing is posting politics, they're blocked.
Yeah, if I don't have
a paranormal stream, you want to talk ghosts, let's talk. Yep. But if they start putting political posts up, you're gone.
Yeah. But with me saying that, it comes to the same thing in the paranormal bullying. If you believe this person and what they just posted, I don't want to be friends with you. If you think I had one guy say, if you believe the K2 meter can give you paranormal evidence, you're stupid and I don't want to be friends with you. Delete and block. Fine. I'll do you a favor. We're measuring EMF.
The K2 has its uses. Yeah. The K2 has its uses. It's limited in its use. It's entirely different from the mel meter. It's got its own uses. The main reason I mel meter is because it's got that thermometer in there that's fast acting. If you get a cold spot over it, it changes very, very quickly, as in seconds. Right. Very good for picking up cold spots or hot spots, and the change in room. And you can actually put a video and watch the temperature go up and down. And how do you explain that unless you're under an air conditioning duct? Temperature doesn't change that fast.
I mean, I don't have a mel meter, and I just have never bought one. And we've got like 3 K2 meters, so we use them. And there are, like you said, places that you can use them. But, you know, I think what people need to realize is that you have to use all of the stuff you gather on an investigation and use, you know, the totality of your evidence or what you're claiming could be evidence and put it out there. And the problem is that half of the people are going to look at it and go, wow, that was a really cool place. They got some really cool stuff. And the other half of the people are going to judge it. And, you know,
Right.
Yeah, you know, I had a guy tell me one time, well, you're getting big in the paranormal. You should expect this. And before I deleted and blocked him, I said, you're absolutely right. I should expect this, but I don't have to accept it. So expecting something and accepting something are two different things. And I'm not going to accept anybody talking down to me because I don't have to.
Two different.
I pay my own bills. I take care of my stuff.
Exactly.
I listen to anybody's. So, and I won't, and I don't. So,
Okay.
I'm just out
Now,
here.
we got about 3. We got about 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay.
I'd like you to go ahead and review real quick of where people can get hold of you, your website, where they can connect to everything you do.
Sure. Best way to get a hold of us or to watch what we're doing, go to www.ghosthunterdannorvell.com. That has links to our Facebook, our Twitter, our TikTok, our Instagram. Everything that we're doing, you can find on the website. You can follow us on Facebook at the Ghost Hunter Dan Norvell Project. You can follow us TikTok on, I think, GH Dan Norvell Para. You can go to our Twitter, which is Ghost Hunter Dan Norvell Project. Our Instagrams, Ghost Hunter Dan Norvell. You can find us on Paraflix, www.paraflix, Expedition Entity, and so many other cool teams doing cool stuff on there. You can find our books at Haunted Road Media, www.hauntedroadmedia.com, or you can go to Amazon and look Dan Norvell, Larry Eisler, and our 2 books will pop up, Ghost of the Black Hawk War and Afterlife Anthology. And if you want to contact us, join the expedition at gmail.com. That is our email, and Larry checks it pretty regular, and we will get back to you. Or you can just send us a message at the Ghost Hunter Dan Project on Facebook.
I did not hear you mention YouTube. You don't have a YouTube channel?
Actually, Len, yeah, we do have a YouTube, and we have tons and tons of videos on there. You can follow us at Ghost Hunter Dan Norvell Project on YouTube as well.
Okay, very well. All right, well, we're going to have to kind of end it. It is 9 o'clock. I can run a little bit over, but Boss Man Ted, he's the one who has this network. He wants me to finish up pretty quick after 2 hours. And you've got to rest your voice. You got to rest up. You got to get over this pneumonia.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, Len, I appreciate you having me on, sir. It's a total pleasure talking to you.
I appreciate it. It was a kind of a late notice, I know, so I appreciate you coming here. You know, you also set me up very early on about my next week's guest.
Awesome.
You're a friend of mine, Greg Coase.
Awesome, Greg.
So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, you tell Greg I said hi.
I will do it. And you tell Larry I said hi. And the fact that you're blessed to have him.
I am. I really am. So, but you guys all have
good night, Dan. God bless you.
Yep. You take care, sir.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody. Bye, Dan. Good night, everybody. WLFE-DB on their world, in their universe, on the podcast, whoever's watching live good night. We're going to end our show right here. Next week, Greg Coase, he's a friend of mine. He's a friend of Dan's. He's also a friend of Dale Kazmarik's. I've had Dale Kazmarik was my first guest on my first show. So you can see we're traveling around in kind of the same circles here. We're going to we've reached out a couple of times to other people, but you can see the kind of circle of friends that I kind of hang around. A bunch of good guys. So next week, Greg Coase. And until then, see you around. If you're on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. WLFE-DB or my YouTube page, Lynn Dorman, C-ARC. And that's a C-ARC, which is Southeast Arkansas, PS, Paranormal Society, Lynn Dorman. That's my YouTube page. Or just friend Lynn Dorman on Facebook. Got a lot of friends. I have to watch out how many I get. I have to krill some out sometimes. They have a 5,000 limit, and I'm right at that limit. So, like, share, subscribe on YouTube. Send me a request on Facebook, and you watch these shows that I'll be putting out with some really good people. And I've got some interesting guests coming up in the next month. I'm already booking for February. I've got to contact a few people, fill in a few holes for a Thursday night show, and we'll be doing that right away. All right. Good night, everybody. Well, I wish you the best getting over COVID, and I wish the whole country could go ahead and get over this. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, and good night to you.
Thanks for watching our show. Be sure to tune in to next week as once again we journey way down south into Bayou Country for another heaping portion of Southern Fried Paranormal with Lynn Dorman and Bones. Make sure to like, share, and follow. Y'all come back now. You hear?